We are back with Alexandra Christensson talking about her short film. I'm going to let you talk about what is your short film again?
So Much for Solidarity.
So Much for Solidarity.
Yes.
Tell me about what it is, what's the concept, as much as you want to talk about it.
So the film, it's a 15-minute short film based on a pilot I wrote. So it's kind of a condensed version of a longer story, but it's about this mother to a young child who's gone through a recent tragedy, and she takes this guy to a party with her friends, and it's the first party she's been to since this tragedy. And it's kind of just about the different dynamics of this friend group reacting to this new guy, and none of them have children yet, and so it's kind of that stage in your late 20s, early 30s when everyone starts to take different steps, like some people getting married, having kids, others aren't, and just like exploring that, and then with this extra layer of what she's just been through and her trying to just kind of get through that and become herself again, or find herself again.
Right. Very cool. Sounds really wonderful.
Thank you.
You said that it screened this morning.
It did, yes. Yeah.
What was what did the audience think? Did you get a feel for kind of...
Yeah, it's always funny. It's obviously so different watching something with an audience than when you watch it yourself.
For sure.
No, it was always nice when you hear people react. So I had some laughs at some of the funnier moments.
That's always
nice. It's a pretty dramatic film, so
yeah,
you're not going to hear a lot of laughter. But I did have several people come to me after the screening to talk to me about the film, which was really nice, very flattering. A lot of people were saying that they'd enjoyed it, and that in particular that the acting was really good, which I agree with. I worked with really brilliant actors, and yeah, I was just thrilled that people enjoyed it so much. And
excellent.
The cinematography and all these people that I know I'm so lucky to collaborate with, it's really nice to see their work appreciated. And then this project that I am very proud of, to see that people enjoyed it and responded to it.
That's the dream, right? Is right to have some good acceptance from an audience.
Exactly.
They get it. They see you.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's talk about the production a little bit, phase of things. You mentioned your cast. How did you go about finding your cast?
So I'm in the privileged position of living in Los Angeles and having gone to film school and being friends with a lot of actors.
So that's nice.
So they're all close friends of mine. The only person I didn't know before I started filming was Brandon, who played Xavier, who's the guy that she brings to the party. And I actually met him on the picket lines.
Oh, wow.
He had been in my boss's project, and we were all there picketing together. We just spoke the whole time we were there. And then I sent it to him and asked him if he'd be interested, and he said yes. So he was the only one I wasn't friends with before, became friends.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful actor and just a lovely person. And it's really nice when people kind of muck in and are happy to just make art for the sake of art, because it's a low budget short film. It's not, no one's doing it for that. So, and this was during the strikes. It was just before, I think, SAG reached an agreement. So all of these actors are professional working actors who, I was lucky enough that they had a time, like that are available. Yeah.
A little window.
Exactly. So yeah.
Great. Tell me what, okay, I'm going to back up a little bit. We know about your cast, your crew.
Yeah.
Do you always and first of all, is this your first?
This is my first short that I've written and directed. So I went to school and I made a thesis in school that I produced.
Okay.
But this is the first film that I've written and directed, and it's the first thing I've made since college. So yes,
excellent.
By full intents and purposes, yes.
Gotcha. Yeah. So do you have like a DP and crew members that you kind of already wanted to work with, or people from school that you knew? How do you put your crew together?
My DP is one of my best friends. Went to film school with him. He's retired. I will never forgive him. He's chosen another career path, but he's so talented. I know. Chandler Desforges is his name. So I knew I wanted to work with him and had spoken to him from the outset. When I'd been wanting to make a short film for so long, I was like, I know I want to do it with you. So that was just wonderful because he is one of my closest friends. And then, we have a shorthand and we were able to, and he also knows more than me. Like I hadn't made something in so long. So it was really comforting to be able to collaborate with him, and he's a working cinematographer.
Nice.
So it was they always say director-DP is such a strong collaborative relationship. But I really learned that because I was starting to sit down and write a shot list, and I literally texted him and said, how do I even go about this? Like, it's so overwhelming. And so it was so nice to have him kind of hold my hand through it. And then when it came to my producers, I kind of asked around with different friends, spoke to a bunch of different people, and ended up finding 2 producers, Zane Khalif and Dorian Thomas, who were just like the right fit. Excellent. And also more experienced than I was. And so they helped me so much and brought really, like, they worked so well together, like bringing different skill sets. And so sort of knew them, but not that well necessarily. So worked with them. And then the rest of the crew were largely just everyone else's recommendations.
Oh, great.
So people Chandler had worked with before, people Dorian had worked with, and people Zane had worked with before. So it was kind of everyone mucking in together. And we had such a great crew who were so dedicated. And, you know, this is a low budget film. They're not making a lot of money. It's really them just believing in the work. And I just felt just taken care of with everybody. And it was such a nice environment to work in. So
that's what makes film sets so wonderful, right? It's just we're all coming together to make this beautiful piece of art.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I know you'll find another DP.
I will grieve it, but I will.
You will make a new relationship out of the beautiful. I know it'll happen.
Thank you.
Did you have any major setbacks during production, during filming? Any obstacles that kind of came in the way?
There were a few. I mean, sounds so strange. Finding a baby was hard. As it turns out.
Well, I kind of do.
Right age baby, parents who are able to come.
What age were you looking for?
We were looking for, so the original script, I can't remember, I think he was 4 months in the original script. And I think I ended up making it more like 6, I don't remember. But we were looking for 6 to 1 year, I think, 6 months to 1 year.
Okay.
And there was like one friend who was going to help out, and then that didn't work out. And then another friend came in literally like, I think it was a week before maybe. And she was like, okay, we can do it. And she's a full-time working mom. Like, she's an agent, and she just like came for half the day. It was on the weekend, I think, when we had the baby. So it was a Friday. I don't remember. I think she was working from home. But whatever. It worked out. She was wonderful. Her name's Erica. Her son, Luca, is a sweet angel. So we had that, but worked out. And then also, you know, we only have the baby for like 2 hours. Right. And you're trying to get a child who can't communicate yet to behave a certain way. And he'd be crying. We're like, great, we need the crying, like, let's go. And then the moment the camera would start, he would just like calm down. So it was always the opposite of what we wanted.
Of course.
But it worked out in the end. And then the other big thing was that one of my closest friends who was going to play Juliet had a family emergency. The film is actually dedicated to her father, who passed right around the time we were filming, which was just devastating because my cast, we were all friends. So it was a close thing for all of us. But she had to go home, I think 2 days before we were set to shoot to be with him. So I had to recast the role of Juliet right before. Thankfully, I have a lot of amazing actor friends. My friends stepped up, learned everything. We did one rehearsal before.
Wow.
Like Molly Edelman, she played Juliet, and she was just brilliant and such a professional. And it was one of those things where I'd written the role for Annika, but then Molly made it her own. And it was a really special thing to see this role played by a different actor who also made it amazing, but in a different way.
That's fascinating.
So it worked out in the end. And obviously it was like a hard time, but ended up also, there was such a community spirit around the whole thing. And like Annika's boyfriend is an executive producer on it. So it was a real kind of like we were all in this project together. But yeah.
Very good.
You can pull it off in the end. It's always stressful. You always think you won't.
Right.
And then it does work out.
Yes. Thank God it works out somehow.
Yeah.
So this being your first short.
Yes.
Did you learn any lessons that you know you're going to take to your next project?
So funny. I think the biggest lesson I learned was about lighting. Because so much of that stuff, I also hadn't spent proper time on a set. Like I'd visited different sets throughout my career. This year was the first year I spent 3-4 months on a set every single day.
Oh, wow.
And it was after I shot the film, of course. So, you know, I got to learn so much through that experience, and it was something I didn't know enough about. And I just observed, oh my gosh, to really light something, you really need a lot of time and you need a lot of resources. And okay, really good to know next time to have a proper budget and to have like a gaffer who has enough people, you know, because we were such a small team.
Right.
So that was an observation I made, because we're making this schedule. I didn't have enough of an understanding of how long everything takes.
Right.
And they were like, this is tight. And I was like, okay, I believe you. And then I realized just how tight it was. There's so much you're trying to get through. But yeah, so that would be one big lesson. I think aside from that, though, as far as the production stuff, I think I was just pleased that I did the rehearsals that I did, because it saved us so much time on the day.
Yeah.
Just to develop that shorthand with my actors and that we're on set and we can like move through material quickly.
Yeah.
So that for sure. And then, I mean, just like that money is time, essentially. That's really what you're paying for. Like, you have the time to do it the way you want to do it. But I think what I learned a lot was also you have to know what you're willing to cut. Like, there were things we were going to shoot that we had to be like, we don't have time.
Right.
And I think next time going in, just having that awareness, if you're on a small budget, okay, what can I live without? And when we were doing the shot list and we were shooting it, I spent a lot of time in post-production at my past job, and I was really editing it in my head because I was like, what do I need? I don't want to shoot a lot of stuff I'm not going to use.
Right.
So I was very aware of that while I was on set and with people who were so experienced, you know, in filmmaking. So that was something that was helpful as well, just to be like, will I need that? Can we skip that? Because you have to make those choices and do them really quickly. I always say, like, I'm a very indecisive person normally. In directing, I can be decisive. Nice. Thank goodness, because otherwise it would be a disaster. But in that case, because you have to make a decision so quickly, you do. And I was able to have a very quick word with Chan and be like, all right, we'll skip that. And with my producers. And they also were just they did such a good job as well. Of my AD as well, Candy, super experienced. They were all so good at managing me so that I could focus on directing.
Nice.
And I think that was such a lesson too, like having that crew around you.
Yes.
So you're not stressed, like we're running out of time, they're about to tell us we have to leave. Like, if you have producers and an AD who can just take care of all that so you don't have to, that is the biggest blessing. And I had that. So I was really lucky.
Some of the other filmmakers I've talked to have mentioned that idea of letting every department head kind of like do their own thing, you know, rather than feeling like you as the director have to micromanage things.
100%. And I also think in general with micromanaging, it means people don't have confidence in their own abilities. Like, jobs I've been in where I've been micromanaged, you second guess everything.
Absolutely.
So then you're suddenly wondering if you're even capable of something. And I think for me, because it was the first thing I directed in this scope, I knew that I didn't know everything. I wasn't going to pretend like I did.
Yeah.
So I had that sense of, these people are more experienced than me.
Yeah.
They can run their departments. They're communicating with the people they need to communicate with. I'm not going to stand here and pretend like I'm the big boss who knows so much. Like, we're all here just to make the movie. So yeah, I think hiring people you can trust is obviously the best thing you can do.
Yeah. What's next for you? Do you have anything in the near future?
So yeah, I have. So I'm planning a move back to, so I grew up in London. I'm planning a move back there this year because I've just been away from home a long time and I really want to get into more of the European market and just kind of a smaller scale. So it was kind of appealing to me. But I have a feature film that I'm on another draft on, which I really want to make in Sweden, which is where my family is from, and which is like a more personal story. So my hope is to be able to do that next. Maybe I make it as a short first because it's just easier to.
Right.
But that is my goal with that. And then I sort of do a lot of my own writing and hoping to kind of develop more with that, you know, like sell things or get paid for some of the projects.
You'd be willing to let your scripts go and not...
No, I mean, it depends. I think so. I write TV as well, and like I have this TV show. an idea I've worked on forever, and I'm writing it as a book to try and sell the book to make the show, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yes, I want to do it, obviously.
Yeah.
So there's that would be mine kind of thing. But I have a couple writing projects I'm on now that I've just been hired to do. So that's also nice because I get to write and work with people, but it's not my baby.
Right.
So I'd love to do more of that because getting paid to do what you love is just the biggest privilege.
Isn't that a nice thing?
I know.
Yeah.
And it's not at the point yet where I can support myself by any stretch. So I'm hoping to kind of move in that direction. But yeah, so just want to watching the film again here and being amongst other filmmakers, it reminded me like how much I miss it, just how special it is. Because it's been a year since I shot the film. So it was just such an amazing, special time. And I love directing so much and I feel so fulfilled by it.
Yeah.
So to be able to do that again, you know, that's what I'm manifesting for this year. It was on one of my manifestations for the year was to direct again and having other opportunities. It happened. So
if you're going to back to Europe with some projects, what is that going to mean as far as building a new team?
It's a great question. I know. That's the thing that
where do you start?
I know it's really.
Or do you just fly out your tribe that you already interested with?
It's going to be a real challenge because I've been here. I've been in LA for 11 years. I went to film school. A lot of these people, my network of filmmakers is so big, and my actors and all of it. And I was so aware of that. And when I'm leaving, but it's just a decision I've gone back and forth on for so long, and ultimately it's something I want to do. So I'm just going to have to build it up again, obviously, and meet new people. And maybe, yes, some people I would love to bring over if it works, but I don't know exactly how it is. I imagine because Sweden has a lot of government funding for independent filmmakers, and I would imagine that there are, clauses where you have to have Swedish crew, and, because you don't want to fly everyone in. The whole point is to make it in that country. So,
For sure.
but yeah, I think this will be a big year of learning for me, like starting, building up again, because it takes so much time. I've built so much already, but I'm hopeful that I'm not sort of leaving behind something I've built. I'm just building upon it and creating a network somewhere else and having people everywhere. And I think the world's become so international.
Absolutely.
And especially this industry now more than ever is the stuff being made everywhere. So, I feel like it just becomes this big collaborative world thing now.
Like you'll figure it out. I know you'll do your thing. Anything that we didn't cover about the film?
Oh, I mean,
Era, you?
No, I'm trying to think of what specifically I would say.
There's no right or wrong answer.
No, I mean, I'm just proud of it. I'm proud of our team. And it's a story that I think, it's a funny one because it was a story that I don't remember if I mentioned already, but I wrote it as a pilot and then decided to make it as a short film. And it was the first pilot I wrote when I got back into writing. So I've had this long relationship with it. But I've had a lot of it's about a mother. It has several experiences I have not gone through. And it's really interesting to see how much people push back against that, because I think people really want the filmmaker and the film they want to see how it matches and how you are in it.
Right.
So it's been an interesting journey for me with the story that I care about, because it's the themes I really care about. And it's a lot about grief. It's a lot about friendship. It's a lot about new beginnings and just trying to figure these. So the themes are very dear to me, and especially I think this era, because I turned 30 this year, is so much, everyone goes in different directions, and it's such yes, we talk about it, but I think the loss that comes with that is hard to really fathom, like how friendships can change because we've known for so long, and they just shift because everyone's lives take different directions. And so that was also, for me, I think the genesis of what the show is about, and it's about so in the film, she brings this guy to the party, and in the show, it's about them figuring this out together. They want to date, but like he also is a single dad. And so it's about them, how do we do this when it's not just me anymore? And I have this other person that was very important to me and is around just, in my life. And so that was an interesting thing to me as well. Like, how do you start again? And when all your friends know your old partner, and
it's awkward.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like the whole point of the film. Like, she brings her to the party. It's so awkward,
right? Because
they're not welcoming, because they feel like a loyalty to this other person. So those themes were just interesting to me, and that was the genesis of the story. But yes,
well, since it was a pilot when you wrote it, is there any desire to turn it into?
Yes, I mean, I'd love to. If somebody wanted to make it a show, obviously I would be thrilled. I think that it could work as a film as well, like a feature film.
Would you revisit it as a feature, do you think?
Yeah, I would. I would revisit it as a feature. I think it would change maybe a little bit what the story is, and I think it would become, because for me, the idea for the series was really developing these two people and their relationships, and each of them separately. I think if it were a film, it would be much more about them in this moment, and their friends around. But you grow so attached to these characters, attached to different of the friends and their own journeys, and I think there's something there for sure, and I would love to see it come to life. So yeah, of course, if I was given the opportunity,
you could just tuck that idea away and see where it goes in the future.
Exactly. I think it's one of those funny things with ideas, because they can come back around. Like the show I was mentioning, I literally started writing this as a book as a teenager and then never finished it. And then found it a few years ago, and I sent to my manager, and I was like, should I finish this book? And she was like, why don't you write it as a pilot? And so I did. Yeah. And then I was thinking, I kind of want to write the book. So now, and it's just a funny thing, because it was kind of not a joke, but like I never took it seriously as an adult, as something I would ever do anything with. So then it was really funny to revisit it. And however many 10 plus years later and wonder what it might look like now. So you never know with ideas. They can always come back again.
Yeah, absolutely. And they will evolve as you evolve as a human, right?
Yeah,
With your
exactly.
experience.
Yeah, and who you are exactly as a person. Like, obviously, I'm a different person to when I was 14, and the world is a different place. And
Absolutely.
so it's cool to see. But I think a good idea can always find some second life.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Well, as we wrap up here, I do like to ask a fun fact about you.
Oh gosh. Oh, she'd warn me. Okay. A fun fact. Okay, the first thing I thought of is that one of my eyes is 2 different colors.
Oh, wow. You might have to look right in your camera there.
I think it's my left eye. I should know. I think it's this one.
Wow. Fascinating.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is a fun fact.
Okay, good.
Do you have another fun fact, or is that...
I speak Swedish. But
Okay.
that's less fun, maybe, but a fact.
That's fun. It's fun for other people.
Yeah, well, no, that's fun seeing you. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if I have any other fun facts. I have a cat named Clover, who my sweet neighbor is taking care of for me right now, which is very generous of her, especially considering the state LA is in. So, yeah.
What area of LA are you in?
I'm close to Silver Lake. I'm sort of on the border of Silver Lake.
So the fires haven't quite...
Yeah. We're inland, but it's sad. It's really sad to see. Yeah.
Well, I hate to end on that.
I know that was a bad direction to take this.
We'll end on the cat.
Great, Clover.
Shout out to my cat. Okay. We love that. Well, great. Thank you so much for talking to me. Congratulations on your short film.
Thank you.
All right. We will be back with some more interviews with a lot more filmmakers here at the Utah International Film Festival.